everyone. Welcome to A Million Things About Japan. I'm Machiko. I was born and raised in Japan, but I also lived in California for a little over 12 years. Then I moved back to Japan this past December. On each episode, I introduce Japanese food, Japanese culture, and Japanese customs and more. So, please like and subscribe to the channel and get to know a little bit more about Japan with me. よろしくお願いします。Okay, let's get started. Summer is around the corner. In Japan, we will have to get through the long rainy season before summer starts. The Japanese rainy season typically starts around the end of May and ends around the beginning or middle of July. It depends on the year. Then, the hot and super humid summer will start. I lived in the United States, so I had a break from this type of summer in Japan. However, I'm very afraid of what summer will be like. All of my family and friends in Japan keep telling me that it is getting worse each year, and last summer was unbelievably hot. We'll see. In the United States, I was told that Memorial Day is considered the beginning of summer. You know what? When I was living there, I called Memorial Day Barbecue Day. In general, American people love having barbecues in summertime. What do you think? People in Japan have barbecues in summertime as well, but I think the style is a bit different. In the United States, people grill hamburgers, sausages, ribs, and steaks. What I really miss is ribs. Japanese-style barbecue includes other stuff, I think. Although some people grill steaks, thinly sliced beef is more common, which is similar to Korean-style barbecue. We also enjoy grilling vegetables and many types of seafood as well. I have had barbecue with locals on the beach on Izu Peninsula before. There was more than enough seafood. They had clams, scallops, and so much shrimp. So they told us, don't worry about meat, eat shrimp. So I ate so much shrimp at that time and it was the best I've ever had. Another one of my favorites was sazae, or horned turban shell in English. Have you ever tried it? It is difficult to remove the whole thing from the shell, but the end part, which looks a bit gross, is actually the best part. It really tastes like it's fresh from the ocean. If you are a seafood lover, you may be interested and able to enjoy Japanese-style barbecue. Sounds good? Although the barbecue with lots of seafood on the beach is very characteristic of summer in Japan, there are other foods that make us realize that summer in Japan has arrived. I saw an advertisement banner in front of a restaurant yesterday, and I was so thrilled. It read, Hiyashi Chuka hajimemashita, which means we are serving Hiyashi Chuka now. What is that, you may wonder? Well, that's a topic for today. I bet you know what ramen is. Ramen is a Japanese noodle dish which is popular all over the world, and although it originated in China, it has been adapted over the years to suit Japanese preferences. Ramen refers to the Chinese way of making noodles by stretching them out by hand. Ramen can also be called chuka soba, and some people and restaurants still refer to it this way in Japan. Typical ramen is made with a soup-based broth made from soy sauce, miso, salt, or tonkotsu, which is pork broth, and it is served hot. I know that many tourists visiting Japan come to enjoy authentic Japanese ramen, and there are so many restaurants all across Japan. However, Hiyashi Chuka, which is sometimes called hiyachu, is a ramen dish, but it is served cold. Hiyashi means to cool down, and Chuka means Chinese. As I just mentioned, it has origins from China, but Hiyashi Chuka is a Japanese dish. There are two possible origins of Hiyashi Chuka. One possible origin is that it started in a Chinese restaurant in Tokyo named Yosuko Saikan. The owner drew inspiration from a Chinese noodle dish called ryambanmen and combined it with idea of zarusoba, a simple buckwheat noodle dish which is served cold in Japan. This combination was the first version of Hiyashi Chuka, and they believe it started around 1933. This restaurant still exists, and their Hiyashi Chuka is still popular and famous. Another possible origin is that it came from a Chinese restaurant in Sendai in Miyagi Prefecture. Many years ago, people considered Chinese noodle dishes to be hot and oily, so noodle dish sales always dropped in the summertime. Then, in 1937, as a last resort, the owner created a cold noodle dish and that became Hiyashi Chuka. Noodles for Hiyashi Chuka appear yellow compared to the noodles for ramen. Both noodles are mainly made of flour and water, but the noodles used for Hiyashi Chuka contain eggs. If the amount of eggs used is over a certain ratio, then it is called tamagomen, which means egg noodles in English. These egg noodles have an elastic and firm texture, and that is also a significant characteristic of Hiyashi Chuka. Although I introduced Hiyashi Chuka as cold ramen, it is not a soup dish. It is also different from the dipping type of noodle, such as tsukemen. Hiyashi Chuka is served with a small amount of sauce poured over the noodles. When it is served, you might want to mix it on the plate. The sauce for Hiyashi Chuka is mainly made with vinegar, soy sauce, mirin, and sugar. Its strong vinegar taste with just a subtle level of sweetness is appetizing during the humid summer months. I think your body will appreciate the taste, especially after sweating a lot. If you prefer a richer flavor, there is another type of sauce called gomadare, which means sesame sauce. It is a bit cloudy in appearance and contains sesame paste. Personally, I like the traditional vinegar sauce and I add a little bit of Japanese mustard if I can. I've also heard that some people, especially in Nagoya, add mayonnaise. I tried it once. It was not bad, but I felt mayonnaise changed the flavor a bit, so I prefer to stick to the traditional vinegar style. Hiyashi Chuka is nutritiously well balanced, and typical toppings are cucumbers, thinly baked eggs, ham, and bean sprouts. These toppings are cut into thin strips and placed on top of the noodles on the plate. They are placed in a circular pattern, and the shape resembles a mountain. It is meant to represent Mount Fuji, which is beloved by Japanese people. The toppings also have meaning. You may often hear Japanese people say they love how the four seasons beautifully transition in Japan. Surprisingly, this can also be seen in Hiyashi Chuka. The white bean sprout represents winter, the pink-colored ham represents spring, the green cucumber represents summer, and the yellow egg represents color-changing leaves in fall. Honestly, I had never heard this before, and it seemed very interesting to me. The next time I eat Hiyashi Chuka, I will have a lot to think about. Only in summertime, Hiyashi Chuka is available at lots of ramen shops, Chinese restaurants, and Japanese set meal restaurants called teishokuya. And of course, you can find Hiyashi Chuka at convenience stores and supermarkets. If you have a Japanese or Asian supermarket in your country, you may find some instant Hiyashi Chuka. It is probably sold with just the noodles and sauce, so you may need to prepare some toppings yourself. Why don't you make your own Mount Fuji at home? Summer in Japan is very hot and super humid, so it is very common for people to lose their appetite and end up becoming very weak and sometimes sick. This condition is called natsubate. Natsu means summer, and bateru means to become weak or tired in English. If this happens, Japanese people are likely to eat cold noodles because they are light and easy to eat. I think the most famous one is soba, which is the buckwheat noodle, but there is also udon and somen. Udon is a thick white noodle made of wheat flour. Warm udon is more common in winter, but we eat it cold as well. Udon is hearty and satisfying, and we feel it can give us more energy. In contrast, somen is a very thin noodle. It may not give us as much energy, but it is smooth and very easy to eat. Somen is one of my favorite summer food. When I was small, my family often ate somen at home in summer. I remember my brother and I tried to eat it in one quick, smooth motion. We watched my dad and tried to copy his way of eating somen. He grabbed a small amount of noodles with chopsticks and dipped it halfway into the sauce, and suddenly, it was gone, just like that. A very good memory. I often ate somen while living in the United States as well. The noodles are so thin that it only required a few minutes to prepare. When my parents visited me, I prepared some somen for my dad in the middle of their stay. I thought he probably missed some Japanese food after enjoying lots of heavy American-type food. He told me many times over the years that he really enjoyed the meal I prepared at that time. The power of somen worked. Good job, somen. Last thing I want to add is about Hiyashi Chuka Day. I didn't know this, but Hiyashi Chuka lovers in 1955 decided that July 7th is Hiyashi Chuka Day in Japan. According to the special calendar with origins in China that divided the year into 24 sections, July 7th is likely to be the first really hot day of summer. Hiyashi Chuka is the sign of summer arrival. After talking about Hiyashi Chuka, I cannot wait to have it again this summer. Ramen is very popular these days, but if you visit Japan during the hot and humid summertime, why don't you try cold ramen, hiyachu? Well, that's about it for today. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. I also have an Instagram account for a million things about Japan. You can find the link on the description. And again, if you have any Japanese food you are interested in, please let me know on the comment. Alright then, stay tuned for more episodes. Bye bye.